Have you ever heard of the saying, don't believe everything you think? So as a therapist, one of my main objectives is to help my clients understand what their own cognitive distortions are. So we also call cognitive distortions irrational beliefs or thinking errors. And so if you want to increase your emotional IQ and suffer less, it's really important for you to know what your level of differentiation is. And so what I mean by level of differentiation is your ability to differentiate between what is going on in your mind and your own reactions in a situation versus the reality of the actual situation. And you also want to be able to recognize what's going on with other people too in their internal world, because a lot of times what's happening in our minds and our reactions don't really match what's happening in reality. In this video, I'm going to be talking about 2 of the common cognitive distortions, and there's actually about 10 of them. I'm just going to cover 2 in this video. One of the most common cognitive distortions is jumping to conclusions. So I was so bad at this in my early and mid 20s, and it caused me a lot of problems until I recognized what I was doing, and then I learned how to change it using CBT skills, or the ABCs of rational thinking. So jumping to conclusions includes what we call mind reading. So are you the type of person that you'll think to yourself, oh, I know what they're thinking? And you might even say this aloud to your partner, oh, I know what you're thinking. So this mind reading, you assume you know what the other person is thinking, and usually it's something negative about you. So a lot of people with social anxiety have this issue where we think we know what other people are thinking, and it's something negative about us. So I want to give you one example of jumping to conclusions. So let's say you're sitting on your couch at home and your partner gets home after work, goes straight through the door and goes to the bedroom and closes the door without saying hi. And you're left there wondering what's going on. You might jump to a conclusion about this, and you might think to yourself, oh, I know what they're thinking. They must be mad about what I texted at lunch. And you might jump to conclusions about what's going on in this situation, and it could cause you to be reactive. It could cause you to start an argument. So a lot of times we need to realize what we think the reality of the situation is not accurate. Okay, so the second form of jumping to conclusions is what we say fortune telling, and this is predicting something will be a negative outcome when we actually have no evidence that it's going to be a negative outcome. So these types of people will think certain things like, I know things will never get better for me, or things always work out bad for me, or I know what's going to happen in this situation. So we jump to conclusions about what we think the outcome will be without any evidence of that. So this is another one to watch out for. The second cognitive distortion that I want to talk about is catastrophizing. So we also call this a doom spiral. We call it making a mountain out of a molehill. We call it future tripping. So whatever it is, it's that something happens and then we jump to a conclusion or a worst case scenario outcome in a situation. So we also know that there's thought stacking involved with this. So let's just say a really simple example would be my 11th grader comes home with their report card and they made a C in algebra. So I might see the grade and think, oh no, how's this going to affect their GPA? Oh no, then if their GPA isn't up to par, they're not going to get into the college they want to get into. And then if they don't get into the college they want to get into, they're going to be miserable in this school and not want to finish college. Then what if they don't finish college? They're not going to be able to get a good job. Then they're going to end up living at home with me, and oh my gosh, how am I going to support my child for the next 30 years? Okay, so you see how one incident led to a lot of thought stacking there, and that's what we call catastrophizing. And with CBT skills, there are ways to manage these thoughts so that we learn how to stop that process from happening. So I hope this has been helpful. The first thing we start to do in trying to get healthier and suffer less is to notice when we're doing these things. And this is why mindfulness is really helpful, is because we start to notice our inner world more. We slow down. We start to notice what our thoughts are. And this is a sign of somebody who is emotionally healthy.